Welcome to the first episode of I don't know what it's called yet, but there's gonna be eventually a name for this new podcast. I previously had The Dose. We had 10 episodes of that. And that's one of those things to where those 10 episodes, they were dope, I can't lie. There's a lot of game for you to dive into with a lot of ways in which you can boss up just from those 10 episodes alone. But this is a new chapter. This is a new podcast. This is the podcast that is going to be with the members from the Syndicate. If you don't know what the Syndicate is our brotherhood where we're just bossing up and just aiming to live life like a movie. Do you know what I mean? Like we're becoming that guy. We are that guy. Living life on easy mode. It's just when you live a good life, that's the Syndicate. And that's what we're aiming to do inside our brotherhood. Each one teach one is the principle. You reap what you sow is the principle. At the end of the day, you are nothing if you don't have a solid team, a solid tribe around you. That's what the Syndicate is. So I'm T, and I'm with my boy Antonio.
Yo, what up? Yo, bro, that might have been the best intro I've ever seen in my life. That was that WWE intro. And, bro, let me tell you, I'm here for it. So let's fucking go. Yeah, bro, I joined in early 2023, bro. And let me tell you, bro, you can only go so far with, what I mean, depending on your skill level, right? As we say it nowadays. But let me tell you, bro, like, everybody here in the syndicate has what you want. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like, we got lawyers in here. We got freaking, hey, yo, bro, we got sports people in here. We got,
Hollywood actors, like the
bro,
Rock to
Hollywood,
Hollywood.
bro, we have literally every skill that you would ever want in a person in here. And that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, the only reason, like, I already said this from day one. Like, the only reason I joined this shit was because of God. Like, the fact that you mentioned God in the first place is what made me want to join. And bro, like the fact that, hey, bro, it is what it is in terms of like everybody has their reasons about joining a group, but my reason is like brotherhood, bro. First and foremost, like without brotherhood, like what do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, like I mean, what's the whole point of grinding, working hard, putting like honestly, like putting your life on the line, depending on what line of work you were in, if you're not gonna grind it out and like share that shit with your brothers, you feel me? So that's what so that's what I'm saying. Like if you're not working hard and have your brothers on your mind, bro, like then what's the point of grinding? You feel me?
Nah, for real. There was a thing. I actually wonder if I can find it right now, real quick as I'm speaking. But there was a thing on Twitter going around recently with a YouTuber called Daniel Dalen, and he's a hyper successful. He's in his mid 20s, and he's worth 8 figures. And he did a tweet. Can I find it in time? Hmm. I'll spell his name wrong. And he did a tweet where he's like, he's basically completed the game. It's like, what is next? Like, oh, there's nothing, not much that satisfies him. And it's such a fascinating topic of discussion. And it's not, the funny thing is, even though I wasn't technically going to be speaking on this, but here we are. But it's one of those things to where, like, really and truly, on your deathbed, and this is gonna, I don't mean to take it as morbid route, but it's what it is, isn't it? Um, on your deathbed, you are not going to be thinking about how much money you made. You're not going to be thinking about the cars that you drove. You're not going to be thinking about other women that you slept with. You're not going to be thinking about none of that. You're going to be thinking about all the memories you created with your family, with your friends, with the people who you love and appreciate, all of that. And it's one of those things to where I think it's very easy to get very lost in the sauce that is life, because we're constantly being pushed with this hustle, make money, make money, make money, do X, Y, Z. But at the end of the day, what is it all for? And in Ecclesiastes, King Solomon, he was a man who had it all, by the way. He was the richest person to basically ever live. he had 700 concubines and 300 women, 300 wives. So his harem was 1,000 deep, and he had all the wisdom in the world. Yet he said, all of it is vanity, 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 vanity. And it's one of those things where you have to, especially in the times we're living in, you have to get a clear picture of what it means to actually do what you do and why you're doing it. Otherwise, you're just going to get lost in the trap that is basically hustle culture. And yeah, I found the tweet, and he said, "I achieved all my goals, and now I don't know what to do." And again, he's hyper successful, and he's achieved so much in life, and credit to him, because he's mid-20s and he's done everything. But you have to be thinking bigger than what it is that you're doing. I mean, that's the thing that's going to keep you on track. And that's the thing that's going to provide that fuel, provide that, okay, this is what I'm actually doing it for. It's not just for money. It's not just to get girls. It's not just to do anything that isn't going to last or isn't going to bring you any sort of contentment or purpose. It has to be bigger than that. And when it is bigger than that, that's when life becomes fun. That's when it's a never ending journey to see how far you can push push your potential, really and truly. And I actually found the tweet that I was referring to. And to paraphrase this tweet, he says, "I've been privileged to meet many billionaires through my line of business, and I can tell you this with confidence. Sitting around having beers with your boys in a dusty pub or on a mega yacht, private jet, or sitting in the park that's free, that makes people happy. It's about the company that you keep. Keep around good people. Quickly bitch the rest. You can make new friends at any age, and you can remain friends for decades. The real treasure is the company." And yeah, that's what the Syndicate's about. It's the reason we do the in-person meetups. The last one was in Cyprus, and oh, I said it. I've actually never said it before. That was is what it is at this point. But yeah, the last one was in Cyprus, and we went to 4 different cities, and it honestly, it was so sick. And it was a case to where I'd met some of the guys there before, although this is my first time meeting them ever. But like with every single meetup, we had to create, it's literally, and I tell people this, we need to get a videographer, because if he was to record this stuff that we did and just the way that we was moving, it would be like a Quentin Tarantino movie. It was flipping insane. The 4 different cities, drove around the whole island, went on boats, ate gyros like it was nobody's business. Like just living the dream with your boys. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's what life's about.
Damn, bro. Bro, you literally explained the syndicate in literally less than like 2 minutes right now, bro. It's literally a brotherhood of like of every literally like every skill level coming together and just like sapping up together, bro. That's what to me the syndicate is about, bro. Like bro, we all work hard and then now we're all coming together and like sharing the you know what I'm saying? Like sharing the fruits of our labor. You know what I mean? That makes sense. You know what I mean? But like at at the same time, like obviously if you're in the beginning stages and you're grinding, dude, I feel like optimism is the best potent drug, in my opinion.
100%.
Bro, optimism. Bro, I don't know how a lot of people don't be talking about optimism, bro. Like, bro, you're living in America. You're probably around the age of like 20 to 25 years old, dude. If you're not making money, dude, come on, bro. Bro, optimism is, bro, you should at least be in shape. Let's be honest. Bro, if you're within those ages and just like, you have so much potential, bro. And once you reach that potential, you have a chance to like join the syndicate, which is the next level networking shit. It's insane, bro. I mean, you're shooting 2 birds in 1 stone right there. You're doing that.
100%. It's one of those things to where it's the brotherhood aspect is great, it's cool, but we also have the tools to help you become that guy, whatever that looks like to you. Obviously, even saying that guy, and this is actually what it's crazy how we perfectly segued into what we wanted to speak on initially. But fundamentally, look, being that guy looks like different things to different people. Because to some people, being that guy could just be like, to them, the pinnacle is making 10K a month or representing something that their brother can look up to. Like, it looks like so many different things. But fundamentally, and even then, I had to correct myself because it's not about money. Being that guy has got nothing to do about money. Now, the reason why I said that 10K a month, because I wanted to illustrate the point that for some people, when it comes to their perception of what it means to be that guy, or the kind of quantifying factors, is based upon money, or it's based upon how many followers you have, or your status, or your physique, or how you look. And there's been a big influx in looks maxing stuff recently. And every time, it's always like peaks and troughs of when this looks maxing stuff comes into play in it. There's some YouTubers who are getting big and putting themselves out there, and this and that. And looks maxing is becoming a thing again. And every time I see it, it stemming into like mainstream consciousness, I'm like, bro, the amount of people who don't get it is actually insane. Because it's one of those things where if you think as a man that if you focus solely on your looks, you're suddenly gonna be able to attract a dime, you just don't get it. Don't get it twisted. Look, looks
Yeah,
are important.
I agree, bro. I agree with you, but you'll be surprised, bro. Like how many people put their value on. Don't get me, bro. T. I agree with you on like 95% of the shit. But the 5% of shit that I don't agree with is like looks do matter to a certain extent. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Let's say me and you walk into like their certain job site, right? Bro, you're 6'5". You're a demanding present. You know what I'm saying? I'm 5'9". You know what I'm saying? So like, obviously, you're gonna command more at the beginning, right? But at the same time, it's just like, who's gonna have more charisma? Who's gonna have that talk? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's gonna have that saying? Who's gonna close it? Do you even know how to talk? Do you even know how to speak? You know what I'm saying? Like that little shit, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And I feel like that's where like most people do separate from each other. And that's where most people, I feel like, in my opinion, are separate from each other. Like, can you separate yourself enough? Because you said it already, bro. If everybody was the same height, bro, people are separating themselves. Some people want to come on top, and some people ain't. You know what I mean? So it really is the intangibles of who you are individually as a person and who you want to be. Correct.
100. And if you don't know what Antonio's referring to, I literally just found the tweet now. It's a tweet from December 26th, 2021. And I said, if every man looked identical, the same height, weight, physique, etc., some men will still sweep up and be able to get women of ease. Others will remain stuck in a zero woman. It's all in your energy, your game, and your mindset. And that literally perfectly explains what it means to be that guy. Energy, game, mindset. And Antonio made a good point. And maybe it's not something that I um, speak on enough because, as he said, like I'm lucky that I'm tall. I've been blessed with good looks. Like I've never struggled in that department. And again, I'll admit that I'm low key ignorant to it because I can just step out and women are looking, and that's just what I've been used to my whole life. My thing with looks maxing is that people, they put such a big emphasis on it. It's like they forget everything else. So it's like you only have a certain amount of energy per day. If you're focusing all that energy on looks maxing, bro, you're a donut. Like, what are you doing? okay, don't get it twisted. There are things you can do for your looks, but it's not about like doing things with your eyes and pushing up your cheekbones and stuff like that. Just you living life and you busting up and you truly getting to a certain level inherently increases your looks because your looks are an outward expression of your thoughts. So when you're thinking in a certain way and you're elevating your thoughts, you're going to notice that inherently your looks begin to change. Your jawline begins to sharpen. Your cheekbones begin to hollow out. Like, it's just things that naturally happen. And obviously, the basics. You have to go to the gym. You have to be looking after yourself. All that kind of stuff. My thing is, don't make it your number one priority to work on your looks because it's such a futile and vaporous existence that people who they only have looks. Again, if you do get to that point, but you get to the pinnacle of what quote unquote looks back then is, if you only have looks, you have nothing. It's like a girl who only is only good looking. She's a zero. Do you know how many girls in this world who, from a look perspective, like they're basically not basically they're models or supermodels, but if you ever speak to them, they're essentially like speaking to a brick wall. It's diabolical, and that's like the worst, by far the worst case scenario you as a man can ever find yourself in. That you only have one thing, whether that be looks, whether that be money, whether that be physique, or whether that be cars. If you've only got one thing of substance, and that's everything that you lead with, you're playing the wrong game, bro.
Bro, straight facts. And girls even notice that too, bro. Like once you're talking to girls, like, and if you lead with something, it's just like, he's not real. You know what I mean? I feel like some people always forget that girls are always shit testing them.
Well, we had a slight technical difficulty, but as I always say, we charge that to the game. But let's get back on to what this episode, this podcast is really about. It's about becoming that guy, or what it looks like to become that guy, because there is so many misconceptions and there's so many or so much misinformation out there which leads people astray. It's like if you've been told that the sky is green when you obviously know that the sky isn't green, but because you've been told the sky is green, you're going to believe the sky is green because your thoughts become your reality. So it's one of those things to where you have to, I say like a quick tangent, you have to be so careful and so discerning of the information that you're taking in, because if you're taking in misinformation, not only is it not going to get you the results that you want, but it's also the ways to put you behind because you're in a situation where you have to unlearn that before you can learn the actual game that's going to get you to where you want to go. So becoming that guy, as I mentioned earlier in that tweet, as I said, it's all in your energy, your game, and your mindset. And it's once you truly understand these things that you realize how simple it is to become that guy. Because I've said this, I think I said this on a Telegram voice note. And if you haven't joined the free Telegram right away, you can just click the link in the description and you can join, because I drop a whole bunch of dope game in there and it's free as well. So, it's the best of both worlds, bro. But it's one of those things to where all it is really and truly is just following a system. And more than anything, and I want to make this point first, is that being that guy is just about being yourself. But on top of being yourself, it's about having that energy, that game, and that mindset that, as Antonio mentioned earlier, differentiates you from everyone else. You should get to the point in your game, and you'll know when you're there, when a woman just treats you different. Not even just a woman, everyone just treats you different, to where you can just be walking out in the street and babes are just smiling at you. You can go into a store and the barrister is like, I was gonna say something crazy, but I'm not gonna say it. The barrister is basically just like giving you a free croissant, giving you doing their best coffee for you ever, just because they see how you carry yourself and they're like, damn, this person's different. They're cut from a different cloth. And it's one of those things to where it isn't hard to do whatsoever. as long as you know what to do, as long as you're willing to do that. Because that's really and truly, and Antonio, you can speak on this a little bit as well, because obviously you joined in 2023, but this is a little bit of what, not a little bit, it's a lot of what the syndicate is built on, helping you elevate your energy, your game, your mindset. And once you can do those things, once you can put those pieces of the puzzle together, then the game is simple from there. But yeah, Antonio, you take it away, Rev.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you're already motivated and want to do something with your life, this is the perfect group for you, bro. That's all I'm gonna say, right? Like, if you're motivated and you want to do some shit, you don't want to just jack off and like fucking play video games all day, then this is honestly the group for you. And I'm not just saying that, like it really is, to be honest. Like in 2023, right? I first started my 2023. I literally first started, bro. I was just like, damn, I want to go to college. Should I go to college? I did a year in college, and I was just like, fuck, this shit ain't for me, bro. I literally did a year in college, and I went through all the AP classes, everything, and I was just like, bro, this shit ain't for me, bro. And that's when started the business, and then yo 3 years later, bro, like here I am. You know what I mean? Like, but it all starts with like a dream in terms of like being very delusional with yourself, bro. Like, in terms of like, yo, not everybody's gonna believe in you right away. But who gives a fuck about what you think, bro? To be honest, bro. To be honest, like I've had family members even tell me myself, like, yo, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, like, this shit ain't work out, X, Y, and Z and shit. But like 2 years later now, bro, they won't even look my way in terms of like damn, he wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? So it it's all about the mindset of how you do things. And once you get there, bro, like running with it. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Talk, if possible, talk more on what your elevation looked like. So from going from basically being a college dropout to being in his 20s, killing it off in life. Like, what did it look like, and how did you go about doing that?
No, for sure. So yo, let me start it off real quick though. So I started off in like 2021, 2022 with the Telegram. Um with all the boys in the Telegram and shit. I'm just having a kid. But yeah, I
Yeah,
graduated
you got to talk about the
twenty
Discord as well, because that's how I
yeah.
really remember you, because you'd be dropping off some dope stuff in the Discord. I said, "Oh, wait, this guy's got a little bit of something."
Yeah, bro. I was dropping some game in the Discord session and I was just like, yo, that was my shit. I'm not gonna lie. That's when I was younger and shit. That's when I was 2021. And yeah, bro, that's when I just low key graduated from high school from there. And I honestly did not know what to do, bro. Like I went to college and I was honestly gonna major in fire science, which would be like a firefighter. So I was
Mm-hmm.
majoring to be a firefighter my first year. And I was just like, damn, bro, they I have to do all this fucking school shit, bro. Come on, bro. Why do I have to do all this gay shit? And I was doing fire science, and that's when I ran into your page, bro. Because I recently got into some trouble with a girl, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, bro. Your page honestly gave me like game in terms of like God game and like just being like a reasonable dude. You know what I'm saying? Like your page actually gave me like reasonable advice, And ever since then, I kind of took it over, and I was just like, damn, bro, I gotta go. I gotta be a part of this dude's group wherever he's about.
And then how did that translate into going to college for a year, then dropping out, and then building a business that is successful now?
Damn, bro, my bad, bro. I forgot that.
Good.
Dude, I forgot. Yo, bro. Sometimes I forget that we're literally on a podcast right now. My bad, bro. Like, yeah, bro. Like, literally, like after I was 18 years old, like I literally went to 1 year of semester. Um, and dude, that 1 year let me know everything I need to know about college, dude. I was doing math classes again. I was doing English, learning languages. I was just like, bro, like, fuck college, dude. Dude, I need to learn about business because I knew I wanted to learn about business as early as possible. So I had business classes. And when I went to the business class, I asked the dude, what type of business have you owned? Like, what kind of business have you done before in the past? And bro literally stared at me and said, I've never had a business in my life. And that's when I kind of knew it was a scam, bro. I was just like, you want to teach me about business, but you haven't had your own business? That's when I knew it was a scam, bro. And ever since then, bro, I was just like, fuck this, bro. I'm going to go to the source. And, bro, ever since then, it kind of grew a stigma within me. It's just like, bro, like, unless you're in the mud, you don't know about it.
Mhm.
Like, bro, unless you're literally talking about it, bro, unless you're grinding in the mud, like, you can't talk to me, bro, about like grinding it out. So yeah, bro. So ever since then, like whenever anybody tells me about like working hard, I'm just like, all right, and see.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. That's dope, but alluding to what Antonio talked on, and it's a big thing, and it's almost like a canon event in a man's life to where it's like you you see what the potential of what your life could be if you stay down a certain route, and you're faced with a mirror. Do you want to actually go down that route, or do you want to do something completely different? Because if you didn't know already, I'm a college dropout. I dropped out of college. I dropped out, and I had basically a semester left, which really and truly, should I have dropped out? Probably not. But at the same time, it was a decision to where I was so dead set on living a certain kind of life and living life on my terms more than anything, that through that I decided to make the decision, even though basically all my family, aside from two uncles, and is it a coincidence that it was the two richest uncles that I know who were kind of understood it? No, because that's the thing with being of people who are a certain caliber. They are able to understand and are able to see a path which others might not see. Because and you probably experience this yourself, or you already have experienced, when you speak to certain people, you just know that their mindset is different. You know that they're wired different through that. You can almost trust their judgment more than others because, as Antonio said, they've been in the mud. They've also faced similar situations, or they've also been started a business, built themselves up, and been able to do these successful things. So, and that's what the mindset aspect of becoming that guy looks like. To where it's like, what kind of life do you actually want to live? How many people or enough people ask themselves that question? Because there's even people who have what they call golden handcuffs, to where they're making a lot of money, maybe making 6, 7 figures a month, but they're living a life they don't actually want to live, and you can see it literally just destroying their soul. And that's the complete opposite of what you want to be. You want to be living a life that makes you want to get out of bed, that makes you excited, that makes you want to fulfill God's will in this world. And it's one of those things that you can only get there, or as the saying goes, to get to it, you gotta go through it. Like, you will have to go through certain things in life that just suck. You have to go through certain things in life which scare you. I've said it before in Yak, and it's one of those things that once you understand the concept, it's a beautiful life. But the biggest needle moving things in your life are always going to be a byproduct of the scariest decision that you have to make in your life. Me dropping out of college was arguably the biggest decision I've made in my life. Like, just before even going out to college, like, if you can't tell from my accent, I'm English, but I went to America for university because I'm on a football scholarship out there, or soccer scholarship. So the fact that I even got out there, being on scholarship, means I don't have any debt. I don't have nothing. Like, I'm just chilling, and I had basically everything paid for me and all of that because I was on scholarship. But I was giving that up, that safety, that blanket, to go all out on the skill that I was mastering. And I mean, oh, glory to God, it paid off. But it starts off with, again, the mindset. I want to live life this way. What do I have to do in order to do that? And 99% of the time, it's going to require you to do the scariest things. It's also going to require you to be in alignment. And I've been speaking about being in alignment a lot more on Yak recently, because one of those things to where you can make the decision, you can have the mindset, but if your mindset doesn't match your actions, it's futile. You're just going to go around in circles. You have to make that decision. As I say in the weekly reminder, you can become that guy by just being him, just making the decision and sticking to it. It's going to force you to think in certain ways. It's going to force you to do things you don't usually do. It's going to force you to go about taking actions that you've never taken before. That's the point. Because would you rather become him or stay as you are right now?
Amen, brother. Bro, that's the thing though. Like, bro, you could become him anytime you want. Bro, honestly, can I be honest, bro? That's why I love the syndicate so much, bro. We have lawyers in here. We literally have people that like own businesses. We have literally people that own industries in this realm. And the fact that like most people aren't taking advantage of it is insane, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. The fact that most people aren't taking advantage of this is insane. And yeah, bro, it is true that like a lot of people like don't really care about their life in terms of like looks maxing and everything. I mean, I get why it's there, right? It's because of the red pill in terms of like everybody's trying to like be the best version of themselves and everything. But I feel like where the red pill gets it wrong is in terms of like they're too focused on the tangible, bro.
Mm-hmm.
What about your character, bro? What about your values, bro? You believe in God? Are you a soulless being just looking about looks maxing your fucking orbital bone? Like, bro, stop being a fag, you know? I don't know.
We had some more technical difficulties. That's life. But what I was saying is, or if I can remember what I was saying, basically saying about the red pill and how it leads people astray, and what it does and why it's so clever is that it purports half truths, which can be easily misinterpreted and misconstrued to fit a certain angle which one wants to go at something with. So, for example, if I hate women, I'm gonna say she's not yours, it's just your turn, because me myself, I don't have the game and I don't have the self image of a man who is able to attract a good woman and to where she genuinely wants to be by your side, and she doesn't just want to have a turn, or she didn't even perceive it as, oh, I'm just being with this guy just to sleep with him or just to get money, etc. Like, there are good women out there. But if I've only ever experienced bad women, that's all I can ever speak on. And that's why there's so many misconceptions about becoming that guy, and there's the red pill as well, because people just don't get it. So I'm gonna go over it real quick, and then another one of the G's inside the syndicate has joined, and he'll say his little spiel as well, and he can give his little experience inside the syndicate. So there's been a whole bunch of technical difficulties during this first episode, which that just is what it is. Like, just gotta charge it again. We keep it pushing really and truly. But if I remember where I was picking up from, I was saying about the red pill, and what I want you to understand about the red pill and where, or my perspective on it. The thing is, I understand why people believe the red pill and all those kind of things. And I also understand where red pill rage comes from because I experienced the same. Like, there was a point in my life when I was listening to that information, I was being indoctrinated with those messages, with those half truths. And I was also in that kind of very bitter place with women, and very, it comes, if you really keep it 100, it comes from a place of hurt, to where some woman's in you wrong, or you're not truly experiencing the results that you want to have with women. And because of that, what happens is you just basically crash out, and you go about coping in any way, shape, or form to make you feel like it's not women. No, sorry, it's not you, it's women. But you gotta understand, fundamentally, if you want to become that guy, if you want to be able to play the game at a certain level, you have to take accountability for absolutely everything in your life. Because even if, let's say for example, that every single woman you've dealt with is bad, that's on you, bro. It's you who chose that woman. It's you who attracted that woman. And until you can come to grips with that, until you can truly understand that, okay, it's not just about the woman, it's about me, and me elevating myself so that not only does my standard for myself increase, but my standard for the type of quality of woman I want also increases. It's one of those things to where bossing up and just generally improving your mindset, improving your game, improving your energy, the byproduct of that is that you do just attract that woman. That just is what it is. But again, in regards to the looks maxing and all that kind of stuff, keep the main thing the main thing. Looks isn't the main thing. Getting a woman isn't the main thing. It's about you and your journey of becoming the man that God ordained you to be. So if I'm going to explain the becoming that guy in 3 simple ways, as I've been alluding to: the game, the energy, the mindset. Game, if you don't know what that actually means, it's just knowing what to do, i.e., you have the information at your disposal and in your mind, and it's knowing how to do it, i.e., with said information, you know how to apply that so we can get the ideal result we're looking for. Because really and truly, just having game is how easy you are able to get your desired outcome. I repeat that. Having game, or your level of game, is a measure of how easy it is to get your desired outcome. So there's game in basketball. So, for example, LeBron, he has game, and his desired outcome of shooting a shot is significantly higher than virtually any other person in the history of the world ever, right? Because his game is at a certain level. Also, when it comes to, let's say, women, how easy it is for you to be able to attract, keep, and retain a woman is a byproduct of your game. Like, if your game is at a certain level, you do not have to try whatsoever. And it's not hard to get to this level either. It's just a matter of learning the game and putting together the pieces of the jigsaw that you know what to do and how to do it. And then from there, it's barbecue chicken. But that's it with the game. That's just knowing what to do and how to do it. And there's game within the game, and there's also levels to the game. Let me explain those real quick. Game within the game means that once you're at a certain level with your game, you realize the intricacies and you realize the nuance that you can't understand just by looking or reading or watching certain things. Because if I want to learn how to swim, for example, reading about it and watching the best videos and buying the best course from a swimming mentor, that's cool. But if I don't jump in the swimming pool and swim, I'm not going to get better. So it's one of those things to where once you're in the game and you can see things and you have your own first-hand experience with things, that's when your game elevates the fastest, because you're understanding those intricacies, you're understanding those nuances, which you can't be taught and which you can't, or they can't be bought as well. That's the beauty of nuance. Once you have it in you, it's in you forever. So that's the game aspect, and that's one of the ways to go about bossing up and becoming that guy, developing that game. And again, as I mentioned earlier about the misinformation and the half truths, you have to make sure you're learning a game that's actually conducive to where you want to go. And how you know it's conducive is where you want to go is if the people you're learning the game are in a similar situation that you want to be in, or the people who you learn the game from, they themselves are in that situation. Because the amount of people, I'm not going to say names, I'm not going to expose people, do nothing like that. That's not my business to do that. But there is so many people out there to where their whole content strategy, everything they speak on, they're basically just living a lie. And they're just, no, again, I'm not going to say too much, but practice discernment on the kind of game that you're learning. That's the game, first thing. Mindset, basically already touched on that with Antonio. And then the third thing regarding energy, everything is energy. This is something that you learn in science class, or you should have learned in science class, that everything is constantly vibrating and there's always a energetic charge to everything. And what you realize about people who are that guy is that they carry a certain energy within them, which radiates into a certain energy that comes out of them. And this is what people like to call aura. And I'm going to say this right now because I've said it a few times before on Yak, but I'm saying it again. Aura farming, or all this new jargon around aura, is so unbelievably gay. Like, people like genuinely have got in their mind this whole notion of aura farming, and it's like, so if you do something wrong, oh, you lost aura. If you do something right, oh, you gained aura. Like, bro, that was so gay, so weird, and it's all routed in insecurity, right? Not like everything in this game, but it's one of those things to where once you conduct yourself with a certain energy, the byproduct of that is that people just treat you different. And not only do they treat you different, because they treat you different, you just have life in a different way. Because two people can, kind of as I said with that tweet earlier, can look the same, they can have the same physique, they can have the same mindset, let's say. But if they have different energy levels, one of them's going to run laps whilst one of them gets slapped. So it's one of those things to where once you go about bossing up your energy, your mindset, and your game, you can put the jigsaw of those three things together. And it's barbecue chicken from there. Like, you're laughing, you're running laps, you're living life like a movie. So I'm with my boy Eduardo. He's one of the more recent members of the syndicate. He joined a few months ago, but he's gonna chime in on this whole red pill stuff and all of that. So yeah, Eduardo, go crazy, bro.
First of all, I want to say that all of that red pill movement, it's just, first of all, it's strange. The kind of people that still do the red pill, if you go to a baseline, it's just people who had bad experiences with women, and instead of looking the blame in themselves, they looked for the blame in women. So they, over time, built this resentment for women, and because they shared this message with a lot of men that had the same experience, maybe not in the exact way, but it caused the same emotions. So they all share this red pill. So this movement where they basically they conspire this, like you said, half truths and perceiving them as a full reality. So what this causes is just basically we all create our own realities, and they are creating a reality where when they say there is no good woman, of course that the woman they are going to meet is not going to be a good woman. For example, in our case, I can say inside of the syndicate, when we find a woman, when we are dealing with a woman, we are never going with the mindset of women are this, women are bad. We know how to play the game, of course. We know how to maneuver, and we understand female nature. And that's why we don't get played. And that's why we don't get the same experiences that the ones who don't know how the females, how the, which don't like to say how the females, so how the women think, how the women.
Just female nature, innit? It's like
Yeah.
a lot of what they don't understand is like the basics of how a woman thinks, how a woman does what she does, why she does what she does. And if you're playing any game, if you're playing chess and you don't know the rules, you are going to lose. And that's fundamentally what we teach.
So, and now that you touch on that point, one thing about female nature, and women crave a man who has balls, who just let their nuts hang. And that's the thing that most men nowadays lack. Even a lot of red pill guys, if they just drop their balls and just fully be themselves in their most masculine and best version of themselves, just the best version of themselves overall. So even just by doing that, they would have more results. They would encounter more good women, because that's what good women crave. It's just a man with balls. Now, nowadays, the men in the red pill are just basically men putting on a mask to cover the real themselves, which is the person that was once hurt by a woman. So they just coolly take a lot of men that had similar experiences. So it's the red pill, if I can put it on a simple phrase, it's just basically a lot of men with a mask pretending that they are not hurt from past experiences and just projecting their failure into the blame of women.
Yeah, 100%. It's a valid point in this. It's like what I touched on earlier. It's like when someone's only had a certain experience with a woman, and that's all they know, like literally their entire life experiences. And if you actually deep dive into any of these Red Pill guys, and if you actually listen to their stories, they've all been hurt by a woman in some way, shape, or form. And I've been hurt by a woman. Eduardo's likely been hurt by a woman. But what the difference is that they internalize that hurt, and they not only internalize, but they take it so personally that they almost want to like get back at women. So that is a reason why, and this is something I want to make evidently clear. There's certain things that I don't say on Yak or the Telegram because I know that there's people who follow the content who are looking to manipulate women. So if I'm sharing or that heavy game, as in Syndicate, we have a series called Soul Taking series, where it's a complete A to Z on how to go from just meeting a woman to how to get her completely and utterly obsessed to you to the point to where your mission becomes her mission. And it's one of those things that I can't, in good conscience, just reveal all that heavy game to anyone because I don't know what we're going to do with that information. People who join the Syndicate, the 100+ guys who are in here, they've all been vetted. It's not vetted, sorry, vetted. And if you do join, you're going to be vetted too. That just is what it is. But that's why the people in the Syndicate are so cold. That's why Antonio was cold. That's why Eduardo was cold. That's why other people who are going to come on this podcast, you'll realize that they're all at a certain caliber because we all think in a certain way. That's the way the game is supposed to be played. Do you know what I mean? You're meant to be around people, as the saying goes, bird of a feather flock together. You're supposed to be around those people who elevate you, those people who think like you, those people who you actually resonate with, as opposed to just being around some dorks and squares who just don't get it. But yeah, I could rant about the red pill all day because some people are just lost. But yeah, Eduardo, Antonio spoke about his kind of experience in the Syndicate and how he's elevated through it. You've been in there a few months now. What have you noticed has been different since you joined, or what kind of things have elevated you to become a different caliber Of G.
I will answer that. I will just add something to the thing that we were talking about. So, I feel like I've been played before. You probably have been played before. We all have, because we didn't know the game. You can't know what you don't know. That's a thing. But the thing is, when you put your self-esteem, when you put your confidence on someone else, if someone else breaks that, you will be broken. But when your confidence, and when you know that you are this person, no matter what happens, no matter what this person does to you will always be that, no matter what happens. So yeah, from the beginning, those were people who had low self-esteem. So that's why they let an experience, something external, mess with the internal. So about my experience, say that first of all, I've always knew that I would join the syndicate. I even got signs that I would join the syndicate, and you know that, man. I even sent you those signs. So
But tell people, because no one knows about the signs that you see, and tell them about. I know, but
I,
others don't.
I would tell. So when I was talking to T about joining the syndicate, and we are sorting things out and everything, I remember that I joined. So I got a job, and basically when I get in, and when I'm going to the staff, spot, so I go down the stairs, and I enter the staff. But before I go down those stairs, I have a door right in front of me every time I enter, and it says Sindicato. So in Portuguese it says Sindicato. In English it means syndicate. So that was the first thing. And the second one was when I was then doing the medical examination, see if I was okay to start working and everything. And when I was coming back in the subway, I looked at the window in front of me, and it said Yak. So that is no coincidence. I took a photo, of course, and I sent to T. So basically, everything that I've been, everything that I've lived in my life until this point just led me to the syndicate and everything in my life. So when I joined, the first day I remember very well. And I had this call with T when we talked a little bit to get an understanding of my situation. Where were my flaws? What do I think I need to double down on, etc. So after that, I received some voice notes, some really cold voice notes that were basically personalized to my situation right now. So things that I should double down on and analyze. So that's what I did. Instead of going to overdose on all of the information that is available on the syndicate, because it's a lot on every aspect, on anything. So I just chose to focus on the things that T sent me to study and apply. So that's what I did. And just in a matter of, I can say, minimum 48 hours, I just changed. Because when I have that information in my hand, the only choice that I have is to apply. And if you apply that information, it's inevitable for you to stay the same person. You will not be the same person. When you take action, and you can only take action if you understand the information. When you take action, you gain the experience, you gain the truly like the knowledge, and you are just leveling. And as Steve said, there is levels. So you will always be leveling up. And the same information so the same voice note that you hear today, you can come back a week later and you will have a different revelation. you will have a different thing to apply on. So it's just a continuous game, which you are improving, leveling up, and then you call, and then you get back up again, and you listen to the same voice note, and you have a realization of something that you didn't have before, and you apply, and it's just this beautiful game that I feel myself, I'm not nearly the same person I was when I joined, and I will be in a syndicate till the day I die, and that's a certainty. Because really and truly, this is my tribe. This is where I belong. That's the syndicate. This is the syndicate way.
God bless the syndicate. It's one of those things to where it's a system. It's a very plug and play system to where as long as you're plugged in, as Eduardo said, as long as you're plugged in and you're applying the game that we have, whether it's in the social media room, whether it's in the sales room, whether it's the fashion room, whether it's the fitness room, whether it's the boxing room, if you're actually applying the business room, like there's so many different rooms, if you're actually applying this stuff, and again, as Eduardo said, there is an abundance of information, like there's 1,000+ hours of game inside the syndicate. Like it's honestly insane. And it's very easy to get information overload, but as long as you're applying the things which are actually beneficial to your life, you are going to run laps past everyone, and you're going to be able to do it within weeks. Or, I mean, Eduardo's closer. He's already started doing it within 48 hours. But yeah, that's what we're about, and that's what a brotherhood is supposed to be. It's supposed to be elevating each other. It's supposed to be busting up with each other. Because in a year's time, we'll be going to XYZ places. We'll be doing XYZ things, and because we're making more money, because we're attaining more power in the world, we're just living that movie lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? Because why be an extra in someone else's movie when you could be the main character in your own? That's the syndicate way. So, Eduardo, you got any final words?
Yeah, I really have something to say that for me, and I personally believe that there is more people like me. So basically, before the syndicate, no, I had a brother here and there, couple of little, like really few friends, which I could really call friends. And even then, it was something that I couldn't believe fully in my heart that, they were aligned with my mission and everything. But they were still friends. But the thing is, they weren't part of my tribe. And it's also normal to feel alone and you feel like you are doing this on your own and everything. But as we know, we are not supposed to be like the lone wolf, the rainbows, for a certain period of your life. Of course, you are going to need to be alone. You need to know yourself. You need to develop. Be alone. You need to find out your weaknesses. But there is a inevitable part of your life where you need the tribe. You need the tribe of like-minded men. Only if you want to reach certain levels. Only if you want to live life a certain way. Because if you don't want to, you also don't need to. If you don't see that need, maybe you really don't need to. But the thing is, for those who want to play the game at a different level, those who want to live life like a movie, yes, you will need brothers by your side. You will need a tribe. Anything happens, you have someone to call. And if anything happens to them, they know they can call on you. That's beautiful, and that's the thing.
That's the one, bro. That's the one. Final thing I'll say, just lock in, bruv. Like, as we're recording this right now, well, it's about to be the next day for me, but it's the 23rd of November. There's still, like 5-6 weeks left of 2025. You can, if you want to, make these final 5 to 6 weeks a complete and utter movie. But like I said about becoming that guy, right, and this isn't going to be like my too long don't read kind of thing. It should start with a decision. And as long as you make that decision as all three of us had at one point in our life. As long as you made that decision and you stick to it, and you're doing the right things in order to help you get to where you want to go, the game, the mindset, the energy, it becomes a matter of when, not if. But at the same time, if you made the decision and you don't stick to it, you're lying to yourself, and it's just going to make everything in your life that much harder. It's very easy to boss up. It's very easy to become that guy. You have to stick to what you know you're supposed to do. And as I said earlier, for most of you right now, regardless of if you're already doing well, the biggest needle moving thing for you is going to be the thing that is going to be the scariest. And your willingness or your unwillingness to do that is going to dictate the life that you live. May God bless the syndicate, and I hope and pray that this podcast was beneficial to you. If you want to join the syndicate, message me on Yak or Young Alpha Kings _, or you can message them in or the bigger account as well. I'll see it at some point. I've got my ebooks, I've got the playbook in the bio, and yeah, that's everything. May God bless your soul and have a good, whatever day you listen to this, have a good rest of your day, bruv. Peace.